them.
Why isn't there more stuff growing here?
What was that?
Okay. Hi, Kim. Hi, Jack. Hi, Joachim.
Hi.
Nice to see you. How are you doing?
Nice to
Congratulations
meet
on the
you.
movie. Just
Thank
rewatched
you.
it again before the interview. It's a great shark movie. So, I mean, the first question I'd like to ask is to Joachim. Obviously, I know that you had done a previous film, shark related, water related, no, and also the script writer he'd also written a shark film, Shark Bait, just previously. So I'm quite curious. What was it from Bob? I don't know if you spoke too much with him about it, but what was it about this script that the both of you kind of wanted to jump into something very, very similar?
It for me, it was 100% the basic premise and the setting of these 5 characters being locked into this maze of rusted steel inside this wreck with a shark. I mean, shark out in the open ocean, scary enough, but if you take 5 characters and a shark and stick them into this maze of an old shipwreck, immediately this triggered sort of ideas and visuals and images in my head. So, and I felt that after having done the previous underwater film, I still felt like, I think I have more to give in this arena. And this was one step up here in terms of sort of physical action, and the set build was more complicated, but more than anything, it was just this fundamental premise of them being stuck inside with the shark.
Now, the reason I ask you why you jumped straight into another film is because I've spoken to a few directors who like Kroll. I'm trying to think about various directors who filmed films in water, like 99% in water, and they said never again. So what was
well, then I'll counter with always again. No, I had such a good experience on the first film that I was actually hungry to do it again. If it would have been the exact same thing, maybe that wouldn't have been so exciting. But I felt that this script had the potential for sort of challenging me to the next level when it came to underwater work. And then I was also able to bring a few key collaborators from the earlier movie onto this project, which made things, I don't want to say easy, because it's certainly not easy, but it made it feasible given the time that we were given in prep, and also a very enjoyable experience to sort of return to these same people again that I had a really good.
And they were all happy. They weren't like, Joking, not again, please. The what? No. No. Ashley.
Kim and Jack, obviously working underwater is pretty challenging, and I understand that during pre-production you were sent to Malta for some sort of fairly extensive dive training. So you would have obviously learned a lot of sort of technical skills and learned how to handle yourselves underwater. How much did that sort of prep build a strong, your sort of trust between you all in the cast, and that sense of camaraderie between you all? And did it help inform the performances in those really challenging environments?
Oh, definitely, 100%. I feel like as a group, and not just as because the team that sort of trained us, but also our safety divers. So it sort of gave us a real nice bond with them and a trust with them. And the training was so incredible. I think you can't not bond with people after that. They took us cave diving, nighttime diving. We were sort of like buddied up, and it was like checking each other's okay every 2 minutes, like you've not lost someone in the darkness. Yeah, I think it was a really important part of the process to create those close relationships and that real care for each other and looking out for each other under there.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I mean, you bond so much faster when each other's lives are at stake and you kind of have to look after someone else. Because when we did the night dive, I got paired up with Erin, and I just couldn't stop checking on her. I was constantly checking on her because I was like, it's my job to make sure she's safe, and that's what I had in my head the whole time. I didn't really enjoy the night dive because I was just constantly thinking like, please don't die or get lost or something. So yeah, you just bond so much and it helps with the film, I think. Yeah.
I'm not. I mean,
And
I'm not surprised
sorry.
that I'm not surprised that you didn't enjoy it, because I'm feeling quite tense now just listening to you talk about your experiences. Were any of you afraid of the water beforehand? Is there anybody that really just generally naturally uncomfortable in that environment?
Yeah, I said to my partner's mum, I said, I think I'm kind of scared of drowning. And number one, everyone's scared of drowning, but she said, like, I'm really proud of you for doing this. And I was like, yeah, this really freaks me out. And I was a lifeguard when I was I shouldn't be scared of water, but I think it's just so scary. Like when you look down and you're in the sea and it's just the vast, blue open water, and it goes so far down that you can't see it anymore. And I had to do a 30-meter dive for my advanced PADI course, and we went to see a shipwreck, and we looked up, and when your bubbles are going up, they just disappear because they're just so far high, so high that they just vanish, and you're just like, it is freaky. So yeah, I was scared. I don't know about you, Kim.
I think for me during the training, it was like, so obviously in the film, there's various air pockets that the cast find themselves in. And like one of the highlights, which I was very proud of myself because I didn't think I was going to do it, they took us to an actual air pocket in Malta to actually get a feel for what that was like. But to get there, it was a case of only two at a time. So it was Abby, our dive instructor, and she would take you down this very narrow pathway where your scuba tank is kind of scraping the rock behind you to sort of get to this little air pocket, and you're 10 meters, I think it was 10 meters down, and coming up to take your mask off now. And it was incredible. But my God, I don't think I've ever been like more scared or apprehensive to do something. But it was amazing. Like it was incredible.
Yeah, and I think
Well,
that it was.
well done.
Yeah, it was so tight that you're always with a buddy so that you can obviously
Yeah.
exchange. And it was so tight. I don't think if you got stuck in there or you got panicked, I don't think she'd be able to save you. So that was scary going to that air
Yeah.
pocket, but the experience
I
was.
think as well, when we'd spent like 4 weeks in the tank and this enclosed dark space, I had a moment when we finally got to the exteriors where I felt like I was in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. We went outside into the like this big open ocean, and I suddenly freaked out because I was like, oh my God, there's too much space now. Like,
Yeah, no, I think part of the performance was probably built into the set because we shot everything that takes place inside the wreck in this set build in a tank in Belgium. And when we turned the studio lights out and called action, it was really dark down there. And I think that both Kim and Jack will sort of attest to the fact that it really felt like, it didn't feel like a set, I think. I think it felt like the real thing.
Yeah, I mean, I was just before you talk about that. That was one of my questions. I was wondering, one thing is to be in Malta, living it up with your friends and kind of learning to do these things. But then once you've got to learn your lines, go into this tank, turn the lights off, speak with American accent, which is doubly hard. I mean, how many different things did you have to keep control of in each scene while you were underwater? It must have been crazy to keep everything under control. But from an actor's point of view and from a director's point of view as well, no?
Yeah.
I can jump in first and just say that, to be honest, when all the prep work is done and all the pieces of the puzzle are in place, the actual process of filming isn't all that different from a normal shoot, because there are actors, there's a camera, you're looking at the monitor, and you're giving instructions. So once all of this, the mechanics of everything is there, the actual shooting of it is not that different from a regular movie. It's just the apparatus of getting to the point where you can say roll camera. That's where it differs so much. And so much of you have to be so much more precise in sort of your instructions and the briefings before everybody goes into the water, and then there's this layer of safety on top of it all. So as you're saying, there's a lot of stuff that are layered into the process, but I think as soon as we called action, I think all of that kind of disappeared. Jack and Kim, you have to speak for
Do you
yourselves here,
agree?
but was
That's
my
true.
feeling.
My
I think
experience,
a lot of, oh, sorry, after you.
I'll be quick. My experience is complete opposite. Personally, I think it was amazing, but you can't take your script down there like on land. You could just take your sides out your back pocket and quickly have a look at a line if you weren't sure about it. Two, you could just quickly pull the director aside and say, "What did you mean by that direction there?" Like Joachim was on an underwater speaker, and we couldn't really communicate with him. Like I remember just doing a lot of this in the camera, like, yeah, we understand. I can't remember if he could hear us through the mics. And then another thing was that we couldn't really hear ourselves properly. Like a lot of the comms were not quite working properly. So a lot of the acting was kind of waiting for someone to finish and thinking, I think it's me now. And so I was trying to learn mine like theatre. I was trying to learn the script all the way through without stopping, because once you're down there, it's not much room for error in the acting, I think, because there's so much to it. Kim, over to you.
I was just gonna say, I don't think I've ever been so like nervously focused into a briefing before a scene. I was just like, okay, Joachim had this fantastic whiteboard with little magnetic divers and a magnetic shark and a map of the set. So he sort of like, we'd each have our diver and he would lay out how the scene was going to go, which was a great visual reference, but it was kind of like watching this thing. Okay, I'm going there, I'm doing that. Like, yeah, keeping as focused as you can, because there is so many elements. But as Joachim said, once you've done a lot of the prep, that's kind of there, but there is so many variables. And I think the biggest challenge was just trying to hear each other, and where there's the chaos of the scene and so much going on, just to make sure you're not actually speaking over someone the whole time and you're all on the same page at the right point in the scene.
Ashley?
You mentioned a little magnetic shark, and we were wondering how you, as actors underwater, were able to create like a point of reference for the sharks, because they're obviously CGI. I mean, if you're on a stage, you get your classic tennis ball or somebody stood opposite you. How did you create that reference point amongst yourselves underwater? Was there anybody there sort of waving a little fin, or?
Well, the shark had its own stunt double, which got credit. But you might can be able to explain it better. But there's
no, it's just exactly just as Jack says. The shark had its own stunt double, so we had one of the one free diver from the dive team would free dive basically the path of the shark. It was to give the actors point of visual reference. It was also for the underwater DOP Eric to be able to frame the shot. And for timing, and so this was one thing that helped the actors and the cameraman, but also to show the VFX team that I could show them in cameras, like, all right, look, this is the track that I wanted the shark to swim, and then obviously the CGI shark is overlaid. So that is good question, and the answer is that for certain action scenes we had basically stunt double for the shark.
And just to finish off, we can't not go without mentioning the long lost Julian Sands, it was so nice to see him with a fantastic Yorkshire accent. I don't know whose decision that was, but that was fantastic. Can you just would you just want to leave you with just kind of your memories of working with him and what he brought to the production for you guys?
I'll dovetail into your comment about his accent. I think this was actually one of the few times that Julian was allowed to act in his native accent. He put a little bit of a twist on it. Obviously, this character has been an expat for X number of years, but I think he came to me very early on and said, "Hey, I think I want to play this guy from Yorkshire," and he also, I believe, had a personal connection to this character, this weathered man of the sea, because in real life he was the weathered man of the mountains. We all know that he tragically disappeared in the mountains, and the mountains outside his work as an actor, this was really his life. So I think he had this sort of double connection to the character, both as this weathered old guy and that he was allowed to play it in the Yorkshire accent. And I know that he was so happy to be a part of this ensemble. And the thing that I will take away from working with Julian is that he had so much enthusiasm for this. And the takeaway is that whatever is in front of you, if it's worth doing 100% and not hold anything back.
Mm-hmm. That's fantastic. Well, thank you. Sadly, we're out of time. I had a million questions. We could talk about the film all day. It's fantastic. I wish you all the best of luck with the film when it comes out. I hope to speak to you again sometime soon, guys.
Thank you so much.
What do we do now? Just hang on.
I just want to get out of here.
What's going on? Behind you!